I get to fish a lot, and I'm still amazed every time I'm out on the water what new technology can teach you. You're always learning stuff. And one of the biggest things that we've seen today is how many fish can really be in a spot. You know, for years the myth was that, you know, muskies were territorial, and if there was a fish on a spot, right, that would be the only fish that occupied that area. Nothing could be further from the truth. Muskies are just fish.
There's 3 muskies within a cast of us right here.
And where there's food, there's often several of them together.
There's 1, 2, 3 on the screen right now.
With the technology we have in the boat with mega side imaging and down imaging and the Chirp 2D sonar, we have seen so many fish. Now we've seen them with our eyes, we've caught some, but also, I mean, these areas where we're getting bit, we're also seeing fish on the mega side imaging. We're seeing fish on 2D, and often the spots that are good, I mean, I'm thinking there's, you know, 5, 6, 10 or more fish that might be in just a 100-yard area. So they're really tightly packed, and that's one thing about fall fishing. Whether you're fishing walleye, you're fishing smallmouth bass, you're fishing largemouth bass, fall is a time of consolidation where fish tend to really tighten up and group up, and muskies are really no different. These sharp breaks leading off of some of these flats are really key areas that can concentrate fish. And so far today, it's been pretty cool to see, you know, what the hummingbirds have shown us, and it's been a lot of fish in really small areas. The rod and reel that I'm using to throw this X-Strap Mag 30, or this basically crankbait that I'm fishing like a jerkbait, is St. Croix's Legend Elite 8'6", medium heavy fast. This is an insanely lightweight rod. It's got a really fast tip on it so I can impart that darting action into the crankbait, but it's also got a lot of flex in the midsection so I can hold on to fish that are pinned up on these lighter wire hooks. Now I've got 65-pound Suffix Pro Mix braid as my main line here, so a little bit lighter line so I can achieve more depth. And then I'm running a straight 124-pound wire leader on here. That's it. So that wire leader, I think, gives the bait a lot more action than a heavy fluorocarbon leader would. And the other part of the system is, of course, the reel. I've got Daiwa's Lexa HD here in the 300 size. This thing fits in your hand perfectly. It's well matched for this lightweight rod. And I have this one in a 7 gear simply because you want to be able to pick up that line quickly. It's a slack line presentation. You're snapping it, giving it line, snapping it, giving it line. So, got him. That's a big deal, and it's got this power handle. So even in the faster gears, you've got a lot of power to pull fish. So this is an absolutely deadly combo for this type of fishing.
It's a nice pike.
Yeah, this is a sweet little deal. This is that micro remote that Minn Kota's got for your trolling motor. You can use it for Terova. I've got an Ultrex here, Altera, whatever. And every function I would ever use with the remote is right here. So I can either clip this on or just have this in my pocket. Get ready to deal with the fish if I want to move or spot lock or do whatever. All the functions just boom, right in my pocket. All right, off you go.
You know, Jer's got his boat set up with 2 Solex 12s. This is really some fabulous electronics, no question about it. And we can really see a lot here. You can see he's got this set at the side imaging, set out to 65 feet of water. We actually have 2D sonar here. This is down imaging, and then we have our map. But the biggest thing is what I want to show you is this spot we're fishing right now. You can see this is a great big bullnose point, but the biggest thing, it accesses this deep water section of lake, this deep water basin. This is where the tulibies actually set up throughout the summer. They're actually really a cold water species. The muskies, walleyes, and alternate species that are going to be feeding on these tulibies that are coming up out of that deep water are going to access those fish off this big point. And you can really see we're actually holding the boat relatively deep in some of these spots that are really sharp dropping. We're holding the boat in 45 foot of water, casting up into like about 10 or 15. But it's that vertical of a drop. But that's the type of spots you want to find a lot for deep water crankbait fishing for cold water muskies. There you can see that's a muskie right there. You can see this white line, that's actually the fish, and then you can see the shadow of the muskie.
Electronics is a big part of any angling situation. Today we use a lot of different types of sonar technology. The key to catching these muskies is figuring out where they're setting up to feed on tulibies. Tullibees or ciscos generally move up on the shallow gravel shoals at night to spawn with the water temperature in the low to mid 40s. Large main lake points that dump into deep basins is the basic pattern. Beyond that, as we move around these spots, we're also using mega side imaging and down imaging to gain additional information as we fish. Interestingly, these fish are rarely alone. In this down imaging snapshot, you can clearly see two different muskies. One that just followed Jer's lure in and hung out underneath the boat, and one on the bottom. Here you can see another muskie on side imaging. Notice the other waypoints. We saw 4 fish on this one point. Mega side imaging gives us a far wider view that shows any bottom compositional changes, schools of tullibees, and muskies sitting off to the side of the boat. One thing you have to realize, these schools of tullibee are moving around a lot, and the muskies are moving with them.
There we go.
Got him?
That feels like a good one. Oh yeah, I think it is a big one, Jim.
I'm with you. I'm with you. It looks like a big boil.
It looked like a big boil, yeah.
Jer, nice.
Coming right at me right away. Hopefully it
Nice.
stays hooked. Come on, baby. We need this one. We need this one. Stay pinned, you little runt.
Ooh,
Oh,
there
it's
you
not.
go.
It's a nice one. No, it's not. It's just another regular one. We're gonna call this action-packed muskie.
Yes, yeah.
Not too many. You just go get a whole pile of them.
Yeah, what do we have? We actually had 5 fish on.
5 fish on. I mean,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, how many times you get to go out and have 5 fish on? I'd say that's a pretty sweet deal. So, you wish you could always get big ones, but that's not always the case. And this is amazing. Again, look at that. Hooked. Every fish has been hooked on that back little feather. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. X-Rep 30's been doing the job
Been
today.
doing the job. And you know what you say? Here, I gotta. Here's my closing line for this episode. When you're on a hot muskie bite,
Don't
like
change
this?
baits.
No, it's, boy, pretty colors on that little guy. That's what you say when they're not big, but hey, either way it's fun. We've been catching a pile of these things. Fall is a great time for big fish. You know, often when you're around numbers of fish, the big fish do show up. So the pattern for us has been throwing crankbaits. It produced quite a few fish today, and who knows, when this weather changes, they might all be big. Cool, let me get it back.